ever caught yourself staring out the window at a beautiful blue jay as it flew through the sky? Or perhaps spending some extra time at the airport, just observing in awe those fine machines of flight in operation? If you're like me, you've also spent a significant amount of time thinking about how it all works. Hi, my name's Worville Flight. Once upon a time, I played a significant role in the development of the manned aircraft. Today we see airplanes and helicopters defying the laws of gravity all the time, but in my day that wasn't the case. We all had to learn about and refine our understanding of the concept of lift. Ever heard of that before? Most people have, but the average person doesn't quite understand how it works. Let me explain. First, a brief science lesson. Air is made up of different moving particles, gases, to be exact, and nitrogen and oxygen make up the majority of it. If you remember from your high school chemistry classes, each one of these gases has different properties, of which weight is particularly important. When all is said and done, air is just as real and tangible as we are. This leads us to another important aspect of our atmosphere. Air is subject to Isaac Newton's laws of motion, just as we are. 3 of these laws directly affect lift and flight. 1. An object in motion will continue in motion unless acted upon by another object. Vice versa, a stationary object will remain stationary unless acted upon by another object. 2. Objects move faster and farther when they are pushed harder. 3. When an object is pushed in one direction, there is always an equal resistance of the same proportion in the opposite direction. So why the physics review, you might ask? Well, when it comes down to it, these laws all play a real role in how we started getting planes off the ground. With all the movement of air going on around us, there are different pressures being placed on these objects that the gases are running around and into. We learned that if we are able to harness these pressures properly, we could gain the lift that is required to give us the loft. Let's take a quick peek at the modern airplane wing. Looking at a cross-section, you'll notice that you have a large, rounded edge on one side with a sharp pointed edge on the other. You might have also picked up on the lines that go up and over and down below it. These represent air currents. As the wing cuts through the air in front of it, it splits the air into 2 different paths, up and over the top of the wing, or down below the bottom of it. This fork changes the air pressures around the wing of the plane. Air pressure above the wing drops, and air pressure below the wing increases. This happens because the surface area, which the air had to move around, has been significantly reduced below the wing and positively increased above it. With more pressure below the wing, pushing it up, than above the wing, pushing it down, the logical thought is that the wing would rise up in the air. Not so fast. We still have to take into account the weight of the plane, or any other object, trying to get off the ground. Just because there's more pressure below the wing than above the wing doesn't mean that we'll be flying through the skies just yet. We have to get a lot more pressure below the wings to get us aloft. So how do we do that? That's where our engines come into play. The faster a plane moves forward, the more air the wings force down to the ground, and therefore the easier it is to overcome the weight of the plane and create that desired lift. So to recap, to get ourselves off the ground, we needed to create a wing that would force a change in the air pressures naturally all around us. We also needed an engine that would thrust us forward fast enough to create sufficient air pressure below our wings to compensate for the weight of our plane. So the next time you're taxiing down the runway and the fasten your seatbelt sign turns on, take a moment to consider the beauty that goes into getting you off the ground. For us, learning the secret of flight from a bird was a good deal like learning the secret of magic from a magician. Until next time, we'll see you in the air.